Welcome to the Popular Pig Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Rhoda, and joining us today are Tork and Sawyer Whisler. Excited to have you guys on today.
We're pumped to be here, man.
Yeah,
thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, it wasn't too bad of a trip up here. Only 45 minutes, so a little good cafe around the corner.
Yep.
Got some
I got
coffee.
me a snack. That's kind of a, that's a need of mine.
Yeah, I got to hold you off a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't
feel
eat
you.
breakfast, so I usually get to lunch, small lunch, and I get to dinner, and I eat way too much.
Yeah, I haven't ate today yet. And usually, like right now, is when I kind of get to my, all right, I need to eat something, because I just feel like when you fast, you just are more. If you have that big meal, you just hit a wall. I feel like you just got to stay productive. So
what he's saying is he could go off at any minute. We probably should have planned ahead and had like a Snickers in hand.
Yeah.
To like,
I do get a little hangry at some
you
points,
do.
but I'll be on my best behavior.
it'll
today.
all be pointed towards me, so everybody else will be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is exciting for me because when we started the Popular Pig Podcast, we actually brought you guys on towards the beginning of our podcast to talk about the starting of your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came on towards the beginning of that. And I got to say, what you guys have been able to create has been really special. So I'm excited to talk about that today. And then talk about some of the stuff that you're doing, Sawyer, with Farmer Grade. Because what you are proving to the pork industry through the success you've had there and your ability to connect with consumers and give them a healthy, quality product that they are willing to pay for, it says a lot. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from that. When we did do our interview at your guys' shop, I had a bottle of Busch Light with a Hawkeye logo on it, and I didn't feel like today was the day to have another bottle with a Hawkeye logo on it.
Yeah, you also brought some bourbon, didn't you?
I had some Blanton's.
Yeah,
we did it
that was
right.
some good stuff.
We did it right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that bottle's empty.
Yeah,
by
I
the
think
way.
I think that's gone.
Yeah.
You need to come back.
Yeah. No, that was a good one, and that was actually like we did it in our garage because it was winter and we didn't have any heating units in our barn where our studio is now, so we had to move all of our setup to the garage, and so you didn't actually get the full Barn Talk experience. We got to get you back.
Oh, yeah, I need to come back, but the amount of people who were like, wow, you got the badass setup with the Jeep. The Jeep Gladiator in the background, and
Yeah.
there was another vehicle or something going on. They're like, how'd you get that one?
Yeah.
And they had no idea that it was the backup.
Yeah.
They thought it was like the good one, and there was
Yeah.
people from the East and West Coast like, oh, that was a badass setup.
Yeah, that was just the garage with our
Yeah.
trucks in it, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was your truck and,
Yeah.
and the Jeep. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you want like the start of, where do you kind of want to go? You want to go to the start of Barn Talk, or?
It'd be great to start with Barn Talk. When you guys, where did the idea even start?
Yeah, so I mean, when I was 18 coming out of high school, I was making the decision whether I was going to go to Iowa State and drink beer out of a funnel and major in ag studies, or, like stay on the farm. And my parents never pushed me to go one way or the other, but I figured that if I was going to go to college, I would come back and do the same thing that I'm doing now, just 4 years later, and just start choring barns, because Dad had built 3 2400s on the farm. And so we started a farm YouTube channel around our farm when I was 19. So that would have been, 2019. And that's kind of how we got our start on social media. And so we were just showing what we did every day on our operation, hog farming specifically. And, we just got some traction with that. And Dad slowly started to get into the videos more and more. And we kind of just had this 1-2 punch of this father-son. And that was the dynamic that people seemed to really love. Like, it was cool that we were showing hog farming, modern day hog farming, and nobody else was really showing that through YouTube videos. But I think what people really enjoyed was our dynamic. They really liked that.
I think they like that family, interpersonal component. I mean, I'll never forget that one episode where you guys were loading hogs or something, and then one of you started cussing out a pig.
Yeah.
And it was just so authentic and real. And I think your audience actually thought it was like a good thing. They were like, oh my goodness, this is so genuine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people are craving authenticity and realness more than ever before, because you just look around the world in every single sector and it's just a lot of fluff and you don't know who to trust.
So inauthentic.
And it's just, people are tired of it. They want real people doing real stuff. And that's our thing. We just would take the GoPro in the barn and we would show how it was, unloading pigs, getting pigs in, loading pigs out, and yeah, if a pig got back on dad or me, and you have that authentic moment of like pissed off, cussing up a storm, trying to get that pig on the truck. I mean, that's what it is, We're going to show that. So
there's no falsehoods, or there's no you can't fake you can't fake anything when you're doing pig work. It's all, the authenticity comes out pretty fast because
the emotions are on your sleeve.
Yeah.
You can't put on a facade on a deal like
pigs
that.
Pigs will humble you quick.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, so pretty much we did that for, 3 years before the idea of the podcast happened. And I think it just happened because, I was a big, Gary Vaynerchuk guy. I tune into his stuff less now than I did early on. But, when it comes to trends on the digital space, he knows everything that's coming down the pipe. And, podcasts just started to become more and more of a thing. And, for us, we were like, we're building this brand. We love podcasts, listening to podcasts. We feel like we have more to say than just what we say in these 15 to 20 minute hog farming videos. Why don't we try giving podcasts a go? And then we went up to the barn, and we don't use the barn that my grandpa built when he came back from the war for anything anymore, because we don't have hogs in that barn, or we didn't have sheep or anything. And so this hayloft just sat with some old straw in it, and we were like, well, let's do it, and what if we call it Barn Talk? Let's call it Barn Talk. And so
It was a cool setup.
yeah,
It is a cool setup.
and we started cleaning out the hayloft where the straw was. And that was some of the first straw that was ever put in there.
Yeah, wire tied in the 50s.
Yeah, because you never seen the floor.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
He never seen the floor.
So it's funny because when people come up, a lot of people just assume that we redid it.
Yeah.
Because the floor of the barn, and it's all pine, but it was so clean and so perfect. People are like, did you put this floor in here? It's like, no, it's just been covered up since 52 when it was built. And so it looked, and they, unlike a lot of barns of the time, the roof never got bad. My family always took care of it, so it was in pretty good shape. But to me, I didn't realize it at the time when we started. And one thing I'll say that I'm so happy that we did, and we didn't think anything about it, was the very first time that we sat down. We got all the stuff because we didn't know how to do a podcast. We had no idea. Mm-hmm. So we just are always watching podcasts and be like, how big do you think that table is? What kind of a mic is that? All this. So Sawyer just assembled all the stuff, and
our Amazon bill was pretty high for all that stuff.
And we set it all up, and then we sat down and we put on the headphones, and we're like, wow, this is really cool. We really like this. And we had the mixer right there, mm-hmm. and we recorded it. And then
we literally shot our first episode that's on Barn Talk is literally our first episode we ever shot down with the full setup fully assembled, and we just said let's just do it.
Let's
do it.
Let's just try it.
I'm glad we did that because that's pretty cool. So the very first time that we put it all together, that's out there. That's the first episode. And then, my view of Barn Talk, and the reason I think it connects with people is, to me, it's like a throwback to growing up as a kid, being 10, 11, 12 years old, and going to town with my dad and going to the feed store or the welding shop or going to the buying station to pick up a hog check. And there would always be 4 or 5 or 6 guys in there, old farmers in there. And I learned a lot of colorful metaphors, words I'd never heard before. But they would be just discussing what was going on, whether it be politics or whether it be local or whatever. And there was no vanilla. There was no filter. I mean, they were very
just genuine,
passionate,
expressed opinions.
Yeah, exactly. And I just remember having these huge eyes and listening to these guys. And so when we started Barn Talk, I mean, I think that's what we just wanted to have real conversations about how we saw stuff outside of agriculture, because the YouTube kind of put us in a
box. Yeah, we were kind of in a niche. It was like they know us as hog farmers and farmers, and that's it. But we had a business mindset. We thought things about politics. We thought things about finance. We keep up on economics. And so like we just thought this could be a really cool opportunity to show people who we are outside of just farming, like who we are, and it's just kind of evolved to that, what Dad touched on. But, I think the vision of it today is like, we just want it to be a real American podcast. We want to have real Americans on, living out the American dream, doing real shit. Like the Mike Rowe's of the world. Like, you think about Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs. He goes out and he would go out to these dirty jobs and he'd interview these people doing these awesome jobs that are blue collar that we need of America. And it's like, that's what we want to embody, real people doing real stuff, telling real stories of their real American dream. And, also like country music artists or race car drivers or athletes. Obviously, that'd be great too. But it's just kind of evolved to being more than just ag. And we touch on ag a fair amount because it's who we are at our core. But we kind of dive outside of just that one thing too.
Well, and that's what was so cool with that progression, because you clearly saw that people liked watching you go through the hog farm and liked interacting on a day-to-day basis. But to be a farmer is so much more than taking care of pigs.
Yeah.
You're a mechanic, you're a plumber, you're an economist. You're doing all of these things to help sustain the business. And I think you guys do a great job of pulling it back and letting people see what are the things that are going through a producer or a farmer's mind. And it's the same thing that goes through somebody's mind in New York, minus the pig. It's what's the economy doing? What do we think of politics? What's going on in sports? Who are some of the leading minds in society today? And I think it's been really cool to see you guys evolve and pull those people in too.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's been a fun journey, and we shoot one episode a week because I think sustainability for us is the most important thing. We want to do it for as long as we can and not burn ourselves out.
Yes.
And we're trying to keep the authenticity and what makes Barn Talk for forever. And so we're not going to take on any sponsorships or try to overproduce too many episodes and burn ourselves out, because we're just trying to make this thing go for the long run. Because I think in this world today, consumers can sniff out a sellout like that. And as soon as you do that, you lose all credibility and authenticity. And so the biggest thing, the long-term play of keeping that is going to be the long-term win, I think, at the end of the day.
You mean you guys don't want to be like pitching Ozempic on your podcast?
Or Athletic Greens?
Or I was going to say, good Lord, I shouldn't bag on him, but
Blue Chew, Dad, you could probably do some Blue
I
Chew.
could get that.
Would
That's
funny. You'd be such a good advocate for that.
I'm not saying you need Blue Chew, but
there's probably a lot of things that I need, but I was just like, if there's anybody left in America that hasn't heard about AG1 by now, I don't know who that person is,
right?
because it's everywhere.
Yeah, I swear.
It's like, I don't know why you want us to promote it. You've pretty much got everybody else. So.
Well, it just blew back on Serena Williams. She came out with a big commercial for
did she?
Ozempic or the GLP-1s, and she has embodied that work ethic type persona. And then there's a lot of people just hating on her for pitching this do it the easy way.
Yeah.
And there's much more to it. But yeah, it just comes across, and all of a sudden she's a sellout. And
yeah, I don't think people give that enough thought. Is like, what have you built as your brand, your persona? What are you known for? And aligning with brands that don't fit that can do a lot of damage. It can really do a lot of damage. So you have to be constantly thinking about who you're associating your brand to.
Yeah, and I think for us, the farm is the overarching. Legacy is the overarching thing, really, for both of us. And very few people today and very few businesses today are playing the long game. If you're dealing with investors, you're dealing with a board, or you're dealing with whatever, it's
so
next
short
season.
term.
It's all short term, and advertising people are 100% short term. So they go to these people that have been successful, and all they're thinking about is exposure and the quick conversion. But if you're that person, what's your word worth? What's your legacy worth?
Mm-hmm.
And if you weigh those two out,
Yeah.
your legacy, your word, your persona, what you stand for is worth way more than whatever that check's going to be for that endorsement deal. And it's hard. It's hard because we could make a lot more money if we took all the pitches that we get,
Oh, I bet. I mean, I bet you guys make a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't fit the deal, the short term's not worth it for the long term.
No, it's not. And so, I guess to wrap it up, I mean, we were, not to wrap it up, but to just kind of bring it full circle, we've been doing it now for 3 years. So we did we've been doing social media for 6 years. So, and doing the podcast for almost 3 now. Maybe it is
a little
3,
over 3.
maybe a little over 3. But, we love, it's one of our favorite things to do each week. It's just coming together, sitting down, talking about what's going on in the world. It's just great.
And so what was the peak ranking that you guys have been able to achieve on YouTube to date?
So for Spotify, we got into the top 30 a few times in the business category.
That's pretty cool.
So that was cool. And they don't have like an ag category or farming category. So, I feel like when most podcasts get made, you just kind of select business because it's like, well, we're in business, right? And so
should have been philosophy.
So it feels good because that seems to be like what a lot of podcasts do is they just business. So if you get in the top 50 through that, it's like, okay, I'm sure there's a lot of podcasts.
It's a big
in
deal.
That. Yeah. So that was a really good accomplishment. YouTube, there's really not a chart for that, but we've seen really great growth on YouTube. I think across everything, we're, if you include This Will Do Farm, we're over 1 million followers across all platforms, but we did lose our Facebook page because it got hacked. So that was fun.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. And Meta, man, you'd think with the amount of money they got going on and how innovative they are that platform would be run better. And when you get in those situations, there'd be a whole support team. There ain't nothing. There's nothing for you.
It is horrible.
I mean, it's crazy that. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, Zuckerberg was literally just with Trump, and he told him he was going to be investing $600 billion into AI infrastructure over like the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And somebody can hack your Facebook account with pictures of you and your grandma, and the support team is like, I don't know how to help you.
Yeah. Why don't you spend like $600,000 and hire 3 really good IT guys for customer support?
Yeah.
That'd be a good start.
Like you can't like there's no number to call. There's not like there's literally
any more of these businesses are hiding the numbers to call, so you have to go through the online chat, which sucks.
Yeah, and they usually point you to a form that has instructions that aren't even the right instructions. And you're like, this ain't going to work.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to start that one from scratch. But other than that, we've had success everywhere.
What guest have you guys brought on that you guys, like, what's the coolest guest that you guys have brought on or the hardest to obtain?
Man, that's a hard question.
Well, the hardest to obtain was probably the governor.
Oh yeah, DeSantis. We had
that was pretty
Ron
cool.
DeSantis on. Yeah, that was a really cool moment where we both kind of were like, all right,
like holy
shit, this is bigger than farming. Like this is cool. Like
you got one of the political candidates for president of the United States.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment, and that's kind of what after we got done with that, we kind of looked at each other and like, we are in Iowa. We really need to use this opportunity to our advantage. They're coming to caucus here, and what's more Iowan than coming and shooting a podcast with 2 farmers in a barn? Like, because politicians, when they come here, they're trying to do the Iowan thing. They're going to sign a combine. They're going to go hold a pig. Well, why not come do a podcast with 2 farmers in a barn?
Well, and you definitely don't want to be Nikki Haley calling Caitlin Clark the wrong name. That's how you lose a campaign.
Not a good look.
Exactly.
Not a good look.
Not good. Yeah, but we're open. Like we said, we're open from both sides of the aisle. I mean, we'd love to have anybody come on.
Although it is a spiral staircase to get up into the studio. So that does eliminate a lot of the old Democrats.
Yeah.
Most of them can't climb stairs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. You might have to cut that part out.
Old Republicans too. Let's be
Yeah.
real. I mean, all of them. They're all too old now, but
Yeah.
they might have trouble coming up the stairs.
Yeah.
So
So
I
if
guess
you,
that's
if you
our-
want to win the Iowa caucus, then you're going to have to be young enough to climb up the spiral
Yeah,
staircase.
exactly.
Yes, there you
Exactly.
go. And that's a
Which-
good idea
That's
anyway.
good for everybody. I
That's
think
good
we need
for
some
everybody.
new blood.
If we
Yeah.
can't get term limits, we'll at least have that.
Yeah.
Hey,
There we
amen.
go.
Amen.
There we go. Yeah. So he'd be the hardest, but I don't know. Favorite guests. There's so many good ones. There's so many good ones out there. Like talking to farmers is always awesome. You know, we had
Millennial on.
Millennial Farmer on, which he's like the biggest YouTube farmer out there. Larson's on. Had some football players on. That was really cool. Marshall Yonda.
Yeah,
was
you had
really
Yonda,
cool.
which is really cool.
He was
Yeah.
awesome. He was awesome too. So, yeah, we just want to keep it. You know, we just want to keep it going.
Well, heck.
Caitlin Clark would be.
That'd be sick.
She'd probably be like one of our dream guests
Yeah.
to have on. But I don't know.
Easiest podcast. The two easiest podcasts we've done. One, Rob Brenneman.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, as soon as we sat down, I think, I don't know whether Sawyer asked him or I asked him the first question. And whatever that was, I just turned around and I looked over at Sawyer because it was
ran
like,
with it.
we could have just stopped right there and just let him go, you know?
That's the best kind of guest, though. You know.
Yeah. And then Jared Holmes.
Yeah. Jared Holmes. Is
We
good,
had a
too.
trucker on named Jared Holmes, and
was
the
a trucking
the
business.
quality, yeah, I mean, as you would expect, a lot of personality, but just the level of one-liners in that was just so good.
He was very polarizing, where you either loved him or you hated him. But that's what
It
makes
didn't matter.
good.
It was
That
so
makes it
good.
Yeah,
But a lot of great people.
yeah.
So, what inspired you going from a fast growing podcast and social presence, and in some ways, even a political presence?
Yeah, I don't know how credible that is.
Yeah.
We always say on there, you know, we're just two poor dirt farmers that
Yeah.
are just saying our opinions.
Well,
go
before
do
I-
your own research. you
Yeah,
know?
before we announce you're running for office, we'll just get into this other stuff first.
Yeah.
Why get into the meats business? And
Yeah.
can you talk about that transition, just the thoughts there?
Yeah. So a big reason why I started social media, one was, you know, I wanted to shine some light on how I wanted to combat the animal rights activists and the people that said our industry was doing all the wrong things, because that pissed me off. And I thought social media could be a good way to combat that and tell our story. But the second thing was, I looked around just the social media landscape, and as I grew up with it and looked at entrepreneurs doing big things on social media, a lot of them, and this was before, you know, the Conor McGregors, the Kylie Jenners that launched businesses off the back end of their
Yeah.
audience. There were guys like Nick Bear, BPN Supplements, Christian Guzman, Al Fleet, he owns 3D Energy Drinks, like a lot of guys in the fitness space that were building this social media presence around them in fitness and then launching a brand off of the back end of the audience. And it was kind of a catapult to kind of get their business off the ground.
And arguably, it might even be launching a business, not for the sake of just, oh, I have this opportunity, but to really chase their passion.
Yes. Yeah. Do have a career that's just fully encompassing of what they love to do.
Yeah.
And so I looked at that and I was like, man, I would love to build a following and try to do something similar. I have no idea what that business would be. I didn't know if it was going to be going and fixing hog barns, have a power washing crew. But I just knew if I launch a business, it's got to be something to do with what we're building currently with our audience. And I just, as the years progressed, getting into social media, I mean, I probably went to Dad with 300 different ideas, but he always knew like that was what I was trying to work towards. So I
Yes.
kind of had this overarching vision of what I wanted to turn the audience towards, I guess, of what we were trying to build. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And, you know, as we started doing more and more on This Will Do Farm and showing more, we started to get more and more comments of people saying, you know, where can we buy your guys' pork? Where can we buy this in the grocery store? What brand is it under? And, you know, we're raising 20,000 pigs. They're going to a number of different packers. There's no way we could tell them exactly where it's coming from. And that was kind of like the light bulb moment for me to be like, okay, people want our product, which is interesting because in the direct-to-consumer space, what you see a lot of times is they're selling you on the claims, grass-fed, pasture-raised,
Differentiation.
Totally. They're selling you on the claims. That's like their
Yep.
claim to fame. And that's how they all are. And so when people really started to be like, we want to buy your guys' pork, well, we raise pigs conventionally. We raise them in a hog barn.
Yeah.
But people wanted to buy pork from us because they trusted us. And we're out there actually showing how we do it, the good, the bad.
They didn't need gimmicks. They just
They
needed
don't need that.
authenticity.
They just need to know their farmer and trust that they're doing the right thing, and they're showing how they do things. And so I knew, okay, this could be bigger than just our farm, because I knew that we weren't the only ones showing what we did on our operation every day, raising livestock. There was cattle guys doing that. There was poultry guys doing that. There were hog guys doing that. And my thing was like, okay, we can create a movement here. Our business is going to focus on transparency. It's going to focus on really knowing the farmer and actually true farm to table. I'm not going to tell you that you have to buy our product because of this claim. I don't care if a guy would pasture raise hogs or raise pigs in a hog barn. All we want at Farmer Grade is you raise the animals the way you think is best for you and your operation. And as long as you're showing what you're doing, we want to work with you.
Yeah, because then the audience can make a decision for themselves. I want it like that, or I want it like that.
Exactly. We always say trust trumps all. I think trust trumps all this BS claims and all these things that all these gimmicks they're trying to sell you on. When they know that it's coming from an American family farm and they have an Instagram page, or even if they go further than that and they're showing what they do and they go, yep, this is a farm, they're all about it. The consumer wants that.
And it dispels what I think has been powerful about this, because you haven't been label chasing and you've taken traditional pork and you have brought that transparency to the consumer, so the consumer can decide for themselves, what do I want to invest in? It has proven that consumers will pay for that transparency. And I think you hear time and time again from the larger packers that, the customer's not going to pay for it, so I'm not going to pass down any additional profit to the producer. False.
Oh, yeah. It's
false. There is so much pricing elasticity in pork right now, it's not even funny.
Oh, yeah. It's really refreshing to see, because pork's our best seller right now. I mean, because with beef being so outrageously high, I mean, it's always been a best seller. Like pork chops, bacon for us, two of our best selling products all the time, no doubt. But right now, especially our pork's flying off the shelves because it's kind of that middle tier of between beef and chicken. And yeah, so I guess to kind of bring it around, I always wanted to start something. I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And that light bulb moment happened. And I was like, all right, I'm going to build a meat business that's focused on the farmer and focused on the story and transparency of things.
You probably know we talk a lot about innovation in pork production here. What you might not know is SwineTech, the team behind this podcast, is leading the charge with their PigFlow platform. SwineTech is dedicated to empowering pork producers worldwide to provide high-quality, individualized care for every pig. Their world-class workforce management and point-of-care platform, PigFlow, streamlines, automates, and monitors routine and emergency care, communication, daily workflows, administrative duties, and herd diagnostics. This enables producers to optimize workflow and task clarity, execution efficiency, prioritization, and simplification of compliance assessments. PigFlow empowers managers with the ability to analyze and refine their processes and make adjustments to enhance overall value. If you're interested in learning how producers are maximizing their resources, enhancing efficiencies, and improving employee engagement in pig care with PigFlow, visit swinetechnologies.com.
So what was it like starting that and putting together that first shipment of pork?
Man, yeah. So the first hurdle that I had was, well, I'll say this. I cashed out my Roth IRA, totally liquidated it. I liquidated all my investments, went all in, because I knew that this is something that I've been thinking about, wanting to do my whole entire adult life.
And you're young.
I was 23 when it officially launched, but I'd been working on it since I was probably 21, trying to get it off the ground and get all the right pieces in place.
One thing, I'll go back a little bit. So this didn't surprise me at all, because you always sell yourself short. Sawyer's first entrepreneurial journey was doggearstore.com.
What?
Doggearstore.com.
So like when I was early into entrepreneurship, you got to kind of go through this, vetting out phase of who's an actual entrepreneur on the internet that wants to going to teach me something and who's not.
Yes.
And when I got started, drop shipping was this thing that everybody was doing. Showing you that you got to get into drop shipping. And here I am, 18 years old.
You weren't even 8. You were 16 or 17.
Yeah, I might have been a junior in high school. And I was like, all right, I'm doing this. So I bought a course, went all in, started a dog store, like to sell dog stuff. It's called Dog Gear Store. And I got some sales, but obviously it didn't pan out. Yeah. So, but that was my first taste of e-commerce, I guess you'd say.
Oh my goodness! I had a buddy who did the same thing, but it was like Anchor, and it was like these Yetis, but it was under the term Anchor. Yeah. And I kid you not, he'd still drop store, then he'd walk around and sell it basically firsthand. Yeah. And we're like, dude, what's the point of drop shipping if you got to go sell in person your cups?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was the whole thing they sold you on. The whole motto was, buy it from China. They'll ship it directly to the consumer's door. You don't have to have any inventory, right? But obviously, that didn't pan out. And dogs were not my passion. So I was just young and dumb.
Dogs wasn't your passion?
Yeah. So I was just young and dumb and just was like, I wanted to go down the entrepreneurial path and just quickly start to realize get rich quick ain't going to happen. Like this is not that game. And, as things went on, I evolved and listened to more people that are actually building real shit rather than somebody that's just trying to sell you a course. Learn that lesson.
I find that a lot of the people that are out there just trying to sell a course have either succeeded so far in life, like a Gary Vaynerchuk or something like that. They're so far out there, you're not even going to be able to meet them in person. Yeah. But then there's that middle layer where if you can go meet them in person and they're selling it like they are, it's probably because they did it. They learned how to do it, but never could do it. Mm-hmm. And it's almost the things if you can't do, you teach. Yeah, exactly. Now, I do not abide by that in general, right? Yeah. There's a lot of great teachers who could do. Yep. This is their give back, but there's a lot of that where they couldn't be an entrepreneur, so they sold gimmicks.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, today I only listen to people building real shit. If I can't look up your company, I'm not listening to you. Yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at today. But yeah, I guess liquidated my Roth IRA, went all in. Because I knew if I didn't do this, I would regret it on my deathbed. So I went all in, and I got a processor. I designed the brand with a designer that I found on a website. Got the domain name, and then I came to trademark the name. I was originally going to call the business Honest Meats because it kind of goes hand in hand with what our mission was.
I like farmer grade more, but
I do too. I do too. I'm so glad that I went through this roadblock. It is.
We went through a similar hurdle, and we're like, oh, so sad, and then we ended up with a much better name.
Yeah, for sure.
So Honest Meats.
Honest Meats is what I was going to call it, and then I saw that Cargill owned Honest Turkey. Oh yeah. And I said, no way. I'm not going to play in that pond. So then I went back with my designer, and we kind of strategize. All right, we know what the mission is. We know what this is going to look like. We kind of know what the branding is. What's a better name? And so Farmer Grade was one of the options. I was like,
Who came up with that?
So it was a mix of so from the beginning, I recommend this to somebody, go find a guy that can take your vision of what you want to build and bring it to life. And I found this guy, like I said, I think I found it on this website called Dribble. And he's just this designer out of Milwaukee.
Freelance
designer out of Milwaukee. And this isn't a guy you're going to find on like Fiverr. Like this guy's like legit freelancer it's going to cost, but he's going to make your vision come to life in a really great way. And so I pitched him on everything that I wanted to do, what I wanted the brand to embody, all that. And he can kind of come up with your color scheme, give you these different directions of how you want to make this brand look.
Yeah, but like he thought so. It's what you don't think about because you had this vision and we all talked about it. But when he sends you the proofs of like, okay, how do you like this box? Because he had like what the images were going to look like. he'd give you like 6 different images for everything. This
Yeah.
is what the packing slip's going to look like. This
Colors.
is what
wow.
the insert's going to
yeah.
look like. This is what all 4
text
sides of
is-
the box are going to look
You're
like.
planning for a wedding.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's very it was very in depth, and so when I had to make the name change, we kind of already knew what the body or what the brand looked like, what it embodied. We were set on the color scheme and what the text was going to look like, all that. It was just a matter of, okay, we got to pick the right name here. And so he kind of threw out like 5 different names, and Farmer Grade was one of those names. I'm like, yeah, I like Farmer Grade.
Do you remember the worst name thrown out?
Oh man, I actually don't remember the worst name. I should. I probably could look back in my email and find it.
Yeah, because we would have these Sunday night meals, and everybody would come over, and there'd be this list, and we'd go through the list, and everybody's like, "Well, that sucks," and well, that's all right.
Yeah.
And there wasn't just one set of, so there was a set of names before we settled on Honest Meats, and then that whole fiasco, and we didn't know what we were going to do, and then, I mean, it was just it occupied so much. You know, you're out, no matter what you're doing, you're just rolling stuff in your head. Like, what about this name? What about this name? And then you start second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, I would go up there. I mean, like I said, I would run. My family's unique in the fact that my brother's an entrepreneur, my dad's a farmer entrepreneur. You know, like I go to Sunday dinner and we talk business. I mean, that's just how it is. We just, you know, and so when I'm going through this whole process, it's like, yeah, I'm running stuff by them all the time, you know, and that's just kind of how it goes right now all the time. And yeah, it's just good to get that insight. But so once I made that change, trademark was available, got it, got the domain name. All right, we're good. Now I was originally always going to plan on third party fulfilling it out. But when I quickly got into that, I realized that they're going to put a handling fee on everything. I'm a young business. I have no economies of scale, buying all the boxes, all the liners, all the stuff. Like, I'm not getting the best price. Margins weren't looking good. Go that route, you know? And so then I was like, okay, I need to find my own warehouse, or I'm going to have to do this in my garage. You know, I'm going to have to order this many deep freezers and like do this in my garage and just clean it out. Luckily, there was an old Schwann's building in our town.
Oh, perfect.
And Schwann's was selling out, or they were changing their brand, and they just didn't need as many Schwann's buildings for distribution anymore. And so it came up for sale. I didn't have the funds to buy it. And so we went and looked at it, but I knew the owner of the construction business across the street. And so I just went over there and I said, hey, I don't know what you guys are thinking. I know that this is up for sale, and I know if you guys buy it, if you have any interest in buying it, I'm game to rent it out.
because it had a huge lot, and they're always looking for space.
Yeah,
so we
their
thought
equipment.
maybe they would be interested in part of that big lot.
Yeah. So I just went over there. I was like, hey, I would rent that out if you guys end up buying it. So they ended up buying it. And so then that was the last piece that I needed to start this thing, is the fulfillment side. And so very just kind of lucked out in that way of finding a place to do it, and it's great. And so when I initially started to sell the pork, what I did is I pre-sold all the boxes. So I think I did a run of like 300 pork boxes from our farm, of hogs from our farm, and pre-sold it and said, hey, we're going to take the hogs on this date, but I want to pre-sell it because I wanted to essentially fund the drop through. It's kind of like crowdfunding, just through your own audience. And so I was like, we're going to pre-sell these boxes. I got my profit built in, and we'll just kind of run the drop. And so we kind of started the business out just doing pre-sale drops. And then eventually it got to the point, built up enough cash and kind of got enough customer base going that, all right, I can have stuff all the time. And so that's kind of how we got off the ground and got the business started, was leveraging that audience and kind of bootstrapping it and doing pre-sales.
And how has it grown from there?
Yeah, so we grew. So I started in June 25th of 23, and do you want real numbers? Do you care?
Up to you.
First year we did, from June 25th to the end of the year, we did like 165,000. And then the first full year, which would have been 24, we did 365,000. And then this year we're up to 200%. So it's been going really good in that regard.
That's awesome.
So And when you're early and you're young and being a founder, you don't know how well you're doing. You have no idea how things are going, or if am I on the right track? Is this a business that?
Well, there's so many vanity metrics. What do those matter?
Yeah, it's so hard to know where you're at. But I watched a video with Nick Bear, the founder of BPN, a supplement brand, and he said his first 4 years of business, he did $50,000 or less every single year for 4 years in revenue, and I was like, okay,
we're doing
all right. All right, we're doing okay here. We're doing all the right things, because when you're in it, man, there's so much shit you're doing wrong. There's so much stuff you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and when you're the only one in there, or you only got a select amount of people on your team, it's just like it's school of hard knocks. You just don't know if you're doing the right things or if you're moving the needle the right way. And so,
say that again.
What?
Because I think that right there is the biggest thing that anybody that starts a business, that has a dream of owning a business, you feel like you're on an island.
Oh yeah, it's a lonely journey.
Yeah. You literally don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And the meat business, and I'm sure there's other ones like it, but I mean, it's a huge industry, but it's controlled by very few people. Do 95%, 99% of it, and they're not giving away. You can't buy their course online.
Yeah,
and they don't want it.
They do not want competition.
No, and most people that are in it, even people that are small like you are, they almost don't want to give people advice to start. And it isn't because they don't want competition. It's because they know how freaking hard it is, that they're like, yeah, you don't want to start.
Make it.
You ain't going to make it, so don't even start. And so when you say, like, you don't know what you don't know, how many conversations have we had where you're just kind of like godsmacked because something comes up and you're like,
yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's shit all the time that, I say the hardest thing right now for me, and any entrepreneur can relate, it's the to-do list is never ending, and you don't know what you don't know, and it's just this uncertainty and this constant feeling of you are never doing enough. You always have stuff going on, and I know as we grow, hopefully you build a team to kind of help you alleviate, and you hire smarter people than you, and they know some stuff about some stuff, Yeah,
I mean, that passion and conviction through the entire process is the most important in my opinion. If you take somebody and they're not passionate about whatever it is, it will grind you to the point of quitting. Mm-hmm. And so some of the first things I ask when people are like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about starting a business. It's like, well, are you passionate about this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the thing I'm working on. Are you passionate about your industry?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really think so. I don't really like the industry. I'm like, well, you're going to have a really hard time, because that's going to be your friends and family for a long time. Mm-hmm. And if those relationships aren't genuine, you're going to have no fun.
Yeah.
And it's going to show too. People know when you do care and when you don't.
Right. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I'm in this stage now. We're bootstrapping. We're bootstrapping. And, we've just continued to bootstrap, growing this thing one customer at a time. Really leveraging social media to help us do it. And we've partnered with some other livestock farmers that have large social media followings on YouTube that have done drops with us, kind of like how we started, where they'll document raising 10 head of beef, and then when they get to be fully grown, they'll sell their beef through Farmer Grade, and we handle all the back end stuff of getting it cut and put it in a box and ship it directly to their following, and then they just help us market it. So that's been it's kind of a different way of using influencer marketing, because, traditionally it's like you hire the athlete. If you're like Gymshark, you hire the athlete and they promote your clothes, and they wear the clothes and they work out in the clothes and they got their discount code. It's like we're partnering with farms that are the manufacturer of the product, essentially. And then they're also the influencer at the same time. And so they kind of like have the audience that watches that farmer. It's such a deeper connection with the product because they're literally documenting raising it.
Yeah.
It's like they're raising that product, and then you're going to be able to buy it and get it sent to your door. It's a unique way of doing it. So
you guys started the podcast together, but this has been your baby.
Yep.
And you've been going through all the growing pains. What has made you most proud of Sawyer watching him go through this whole process? Because I wish the people closest to me could have understood or seen as close as what you might be the struggles, because it's hard.
It is freaking
and
hard.
you get to know yourself really quick. What's been the coolest thing for you?
Oh, you're gonna make me break down. So first thing I'll say is, if everything that we do on the farm side of it, if we don't ever go any further than what we are right now, to me that's a win, because so both my kids, so my oldest son, he has a real estate photography business, but he and Sawyer own real estate together. And then we actually own a little bit of real estate, all of us together. That way we're guaranteed to have at least one fight every week, about something. But I don't know who said this, and I probably saw it in passing, but some guy said that, like, if you can raise a set of kids and then when you're old, they still want to hang out with you, like, that's the sign of being a good parent. And, we all still hang out together. And, oh, man, it's a grind. I mean, for both of them. And they're so much further ahead than I was at that age. When I think about, like, Sawyer where he is now versus me at 25, well, me at 25 was just coming out of, was just right in the middle of losing my ass raising pigs in the 90s. So that's where I was. And my marriage was probably just about at the worst point that it ever was. And yeah, so when I think about the amount of opportunity that this generation has, like, it really pisses me off. This isn't a very good answer to your question, but it really pisses me off to hear kids or people his age and younger complain, because you have no freaking idea how much opportunity you have in the palm of your hand, and what you can learn, and how you can leverage knowledge, and how you can leverage time. I mean, but it is hard, because on the other side of that is it's so competitive right now.
It is.
But for me to watch what he's built, I mean, I don't know. People are like, how'd you do it? Well, I don't know what we did. And Sawyer said this, the only thing that I can say for advice that is probably good advice, because, he's got a good mother. I married way above my grade on that. That was my first bit of salesmanship there. But we never told either one of them why something wouldn't work. Like, we never said, like, when he said, "Oh, I'm gonna have dog gear store. I'm gonna drop ship," and
there's no way that was the worst idea.
No, there's some worse than that. But we didn't say, "Oh, that'll never work." To him, I mean, to ourselves, we're like, "Oh, this will never work," and they didn't. But we didn't.
That's how you learn.
We didn't step on it, and we let them figure it out for themselves. And man, I'm just thankful that here I am. We farm 400 acres in Southeast Iowa and raise 20,000 pigs a year, and we're going to be able, I mean, knock on wood, if we keep doing what we're doing. All I ever really wanted was there to be the opportunity for my kids to be part of the farm, whether they actually were going to do it, just the opportunity, because I looked at it like, man, the way the economics of ag are, that's going to be really, really hard. But we say this all the time. We are so thankful that we have to have conversations about how we're going to decide what to do because we have too many opportunities. Like we say, not one more thing. We are not doing one more thing. And then one of us will go, well, at least not right now.
Yeah.
You know, we are so blessed that we have more opportunity than we know what to do with. It's just, it takes a lot of hard work between opportunity and success. And he's doing a great job. And I'm just blessed that I get to work with him. And, you know, my benefit package is when I want a steak, I just grab it. And when nobody's looking, I throw it on the ground to try to break the seal. That's how I build my own discount.
You sound like a 16-year-old at Fairway.
Yeah, that's it. So
There you go.
It's pretty good work.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
got that going for me.
Yeah.
So Sawyer, when you think about where everything's going, what excites you the most? Where's everything headed from here? What should people be looking out for?
For just everything that we're doing, or farmer grade, or
Farmer grade.
Farmer grade. I just want to continue to. I mean, we didn't even get into the meat business side of things, of just how the meat business works. But I just want to stay true to who we are, of being really actually true farm to table. Like every single cut that you get from a farmer is, you know, it's coming from a farm and not just like being cut from a. Because there's a lot of stuff happening in the meat industry that I don't even think people realize, of people buying primals and cutting them into steaks and saying that it's from this place, but it's actually from this place, and they just get away with it. You know, we don't ever want to go away from what our mission is of what we embody, and so I just want to continue to scale one customer at a time. I think in the mid to near future, you know, probably 3 to 5 years, I would love to, you know, invest in our own infrastructure in some capacity. I don't think building a full-fledged USDA processing facility is the way to go, because it seems the economics on that don't work very well. I'd rather invest in partners that are currently doing that and bringing value to them, so we have a better and long...
Connect the supply chain.
Yeah, connect the supply chain and work with those processing partners and grow with them. And whether that's investing in our own supply chain and doing tallow or meat sticks, or having our own smokehouse or something like that, where, hey, we're bringing that value added back in-house, but we're still hiring out the thing that we have to have hired out, because if we tried doing it ourselves, it just would kill us. I think that's the thing that I've learned the most in the industry, is the guys that try to grow too fast in the meat business end up getting killed, because not the sales aren't good. It's because of the regulation, the labor, the operations of running a full-fledged USDA processing facility will just kill you. The economics will kill you. So I think you have to build that market up very, very, like more than what you think. And then if you want to go down that road, great. But you got to make damn sure that if you build one, that you're going to do all your own stuff, because if you have to rely on a market that the big boys play in, the big boys will eat your lunch. They will put you out of business.
They'll put you out when they know they need to.
Yeah. You know, you have to create your own market and build something that they can't touch.
You almost have to be so authentic that if the big boys come and try to stomp you out, it kills their brand.
Yeah.
Right? Because the very idea of taking an influencing individual in that community and then giving them that audience to share the story of stomping them out, like that's brand suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do not want to be the big guy who stomped out the little guy that everybody knew.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And I think that you're seeing that across the board, which is all products. You know, I think something that a lot of food products you're seeing, you know, they have massive success on social media, and then the big boy can't touch them, and then every retailer wants their product in their stores, because you're just seeing a lot of that. I think social media is really influencing retail more than ever before, because people see a product on TikTok, they want to go get it, and they want a retailer have it, and the retailer wants to have it in their stores.
And it goes back to trust, because my generation and a little older, if you remember, I think one of the best examples of this was, it may have been 10 years ago, I don't know, but like Nabisco sold its brand. Mondelez bought all of the Nabisco brands, all the stuff I grew up with, Ritz crackers, Oreos, all those things. And my mom was a name brand shopper. Went to the store, you bought all that stuff. Today's generations, it doesn't mean anything. And Mondelez bought that thinking that they had this guaranteed like block of sales for these brands. But guess what? Today, people don't have that brand loyalty unless they build a relationship where they feel like there's trust there.
Yeah.
And they just simply were going on that name. And if you don't tell your story, but more importantly, show that you're genuine and show what you're doing to where people can say, okay, I can get behind that, there isn't any loyalty.
Yeah.
And I think that's where these big brands, I think that's what their Achilles heel is, where you can come in. If you're willing to put yourself out there and you're willing to do the work that it takes to show what you do and be authentic, and the good and the bad, I think you'll be rewarded for it.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of so I just shorten it. Yeah, just want to continue to grow what we're doing and go grow customer by customer, do right by them, and continue to just grow the brand and have a bigger footprint in the meat industry.
So it's been great to have you guys on the podcast. Really appreciate you taking the time, and we wish you the very best as you continue to grow both brands.
Yeah, same to you, man. We really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Popular Pig. We aspire to learn and grow together through the experience and wisdom shared by our esteemed guests. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues within the swine industry. For more information, please go to popularpig.com to receive updates when new episodes are available. Popular Pig is brought to you by SwineTech, the award-winning creators of SmartGuard and PigFlow. To learn how PigFlow can help you streamline your workforce and reduce piglet and sow deaths, visit swinetechnologies.com.